So we got some huge Star Wars news today, and a lot of people are reacting very strongly to this news. A lot of people very angry, very sad. And then the other group of people, of course, when it comes to Star Wars, this is always the case. The other group of people are very happy and very excited. Let's check out what I'm talking about today. We got this tweet from Star Wars Holocron, and we also got some other news as well that I'll cover later on in the video. But some new Star Wars books got announced. Now, off the bat, very good news about this news is that none of these books are High Republic books. And I don't know, I've been predicting that the High Republic was going to end a long time ago. I think it's going to be cut short. I don't think the Acolyte show will ever come out. Maybe it will. Maybe I'm completely wrong. That's just what I'm thinking. I don't think that the High Republic worked out the way that they thought it would. And like I said, the good news about this news right here is that there are no High Republic era books right here. As we can see, the first book is Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. Luke and Lando investigate Exegol. Now, this is the one that kind of got a lot of people upset, and also at the same time got a lot of people excited, but mostly upset. Mostly on Twitter, they're upset about this book, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Let's go through the other books first. Brotherhood by Mike Chen and Anakin and Obi-Wan go to Cato Nemoidia. This one is the one that I'm most excited for. I think it's going to be really good. Most of the, Master and Apprentice type books that Claudia Gray wrote seems like it's going to be kind of along those lines. And obviously, Cato Nemoidia has kind of been a meme ever since Obi-Wan said that business on Cato Nemoidia doesn't count. In the prequel trilogy, it's kind of been a meme, and it's kind of been a place of mystery in the Star Wars universe. We don't really know what happened on Cato Nemoidia. So now we'll finally find out what happened over on Cato Nemoidia. And it's about Anakin and Obi-Wan during the prequel era. Always a good time period, always two good characters, especially in that time period. That's the time period that I'm most interested in, and it seems like Star Wars is moving in the direction where they're most interested in that time period as well. We have the Kenobi show coming out. Now we have an Anakin and Obi-Wan go to Cato Nemoidia book coming out. We might even see more Hayden Christensen playing Darth Vader later on in the Star Wars universe. That's been heavily rumored. It seems like they're really leaning into Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen's Anakin, which is what I've been wanting from Star Wars for a very long time. So very excited to see that. Might talk about that a little bit later as well. I mean, I can't really be much more excited for a book other than an Anakin and Obi-Wan book. I've been wanting to see that for a long time. We finally get to see it. Stories of Jedi and Sith, edited by Jennifer Heddle. Anthology book. Don't really know too much about that one, but here's the cover of the book. That's the Shadow of the Sith book. But here is the Stories of Jedi and Sith. It's obviously they're not final covers, so they're not too telling or anything like that. No release dates for these books either, by the way. But Padawan by Kirsten White. Obi-Wan as a Padawan. So like I said, they're really leaning heavily into these Obi-Wan and Anakin prequel trilogy era type books, and I'm really excited for that. We already saw Master and Apprentice, so maybe this Padawan book will be connected to Master and Apprentice in some way. That would be pretty cool. I think that Master and Apprentice is one of the best Star Wars books ever written, honestly. I know that's kind of a hot take because people don't like Claudia Gray, but I think Master and Apprentice is one of the best Star Wars books ever written. And I think, honestly, Claudia Gray is one of the best Star Wars authors who have ever written Star Wars books. I'll be honest, I think she's one of my favorite authors, and I think that she's one of the best, but only when she's writing about characters that already exist, because I think that she truly knows how these characters would act in the future, and she also really cares about the characters. But whenever she was given the book to write for the High Republic, I don't know if she was given complete autonomy over the characters that she created, but I believe her book was the one where they introduced Geode, so it's just not looking too good for her in the High Republic. But for everything else that she's written, like Bloodlines, I believe she wrote, Master and Apprentice, I think that she's written some of the best Star Wars books that we've ever gotten. So I'm pretty excited for her in the future of Star Wars, but also for this book, Obi-Wan as a Padawan. That was a very good book, Master and Apprentice. I'll be very excited to see him as a Padawan even more. I don't know if we'll see like Obi-Wan's backstory, like where he came from as a kid and stuff like that, or if it's just going to be more of him and Qui-Gon Jinn going on adventures and stuff like that. Either way, I'm very excited for this book. I always, like I say, the prequel trilogy is what got me to fall in love with Star Wars. So always when I'm seeing prequel trilogy era stuff, that's when I'm going to be most excited about Star Wars. But the most controversial book out of all of these, of course, is Luke and Lando Investigate Exegol. And as you can see by these Twitter reactions, we'll go through a few of these because people are reacting very strongly to this stuff. And also they're asking very good questions that people have answered in the comments as well, that I'm sure a lot of you have been asking about these books. Like, when are they coming out? Are these going to be Legends or canon? As you can see right here, Legends or canon. Obviously, it's going to be canon. I think that, I thought it was pretty obvious, but a lot of people were asking the question. If in the Rey Palpatine / J.J. Abrams timeline, no thanks, yes please. So as you can see, a lot of people don't want to see it in that timeline. They don't want to see this stuff connected to the sequel trilogy. but a lot of people do at the same time. Wait, is that business on Kato Nemoidia? That doesn't count. Yeah, from what I heard. So obviously, if they're going to go with Obi-Wan and Anakin to Kato Nemoidia, they're probably going to explain what that quote meant. If they don't, huge missed opportunity, but that would be nothing new to the Disney Star Wars universe. You better pre-order that Obi-Wan Anakin book. Yeah, I think that it's going to be a really cool book. Dang, was hoping we could strike Exegol from the record. So another person that doesn't want to see the Exegol book, which is totally, it's a legitimate opinion for sure. Like, people don't want to see that. You're not alone. There's a lot of people that don't want to see that. A lot of people don't want to see Exegol or Lando and Luke chasing Ochi, because apparently that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Lando and Luke chasing Ochi across the galaxy, which could be a bad thing. They could bring those plot holes back into play. They could, try to fill up some plot holes and create new plot holes. They could make the Luke Skywalker character even worse. They could mess up a lot of different things. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think they're going to. I think that they realized their mistakes with the sequel trilogy. I think they realized how powerful the Luke Skywalker character is when it comes to the Star Wars fan base after that Mandalorian Season 2 finale. And I think they're writing this book for one reason and for one reason only, and that's to improve the character as much as they possibly can in the sequel trilogy, and possibly even connect the Luke Skywalker from the Mandalorian Season 2 finale into the one from the sequel trilogy as best as possible, because I think that that is the end goal for Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's Star Wars universe. Maybe that's not in their heads the end goal, but I think that's Star Wars and Lucasfilm's goal as a whole, to make the sequel trilogy timeline make sense, to make Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy just make more sense to the fans, even though some fans are just totally not open to that even trying to make sense in their head, because they just want to block it out completely. I think that that's what their end goal is, and I definitely think that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are capable of doing something like that. Now, how much they could improve it is kind of up to each individual fan, how open you are to the improvement, because I think that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni could definitely improve Star Wars quite a bit, especially the Luke Skywalker character. They already improved it quite a bit in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale. But here's this article from Inside the Magic. It says Star Wars tackles sequel trilogy plot holes, announces a new Luke Skywalker project. And it does seem like they're leaning quite into the Luke Skywalker character. If you remember a while back, he was on the front page of StarWars.com, which hasn't happened in so long. And on the front page of StarWars.com, they were talking about how they have to treat the character with such care and stuff like this, which they've never talked about Luke Skywalker like that in the past. So to finally see Lucasfilm and Star Wars realize the power that Luke Skywalker has as a character when it comes to the Star Wars fan base, and also inside of the films, inside of the Star Wars media, whenever they start to realize that, whenever they start to realize the care that you have to take when going and messing with this character, this legendary, not just legendary Star Wars character, but legendary character in media in general, he'll always be remembered. Luke Skywalker's name will never be forgotten, no matter how old Star Wars gets. Luke Skywalker will always be a legend. People who never seen Star Wars in their life know who Luke Skywalker is. And that's not a character that you should be taking lightly whenever you're messing with his backstory and with his future. So it's not a secret that Star Wars sequel trilogy left much to be desired for Star Wars fans, blah, blah, blah. 4 years later, the Star Wars sequels will have finished and left the fandom more divided than ever. Following his Star Wars movie, Abrams returned to close out the trilogy. There hasn't been a definitive reason by Palpatine. Okay, so pretty much, I'm not going to read this whole article because they just blabber on about nonsense the whole time. But they are trying to fill up these plot holes with this new Luke Skywalker book. And, I respect it. I think that they definitely could improve the character. But like I said, it kind of comes down to fans' openness with how open they are to these plot holes being filled and the way that they're going to fill them. A lot of fans are just not open at all to that. And that's totally fine. I say try to open yourself up to it as much as possible and just try to enjoy this period of Star Wars that we're going to right now, because if they do this right, if they do Book of Boba Fett into 2021 and 2022 right, this could be the golden age of Star Wars, or at least, like Coach from Echo Base Network says, the renaissance of Star Wars. Maybe not the golden age, because you can probably say that was the original trilogy, but the renaissance of Star Wars could be 2022 if they play their cards right. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. What do you think about these books that were announced? I'm pretty excited about most of them. The Luke on Exegol book is kind of iffy for me, the Luke and Lando investigating Exegol. But let me know what you guys think about these books, and what do you think about Star Wars in 2022? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, link to that in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video. I hope to see you next one.